submit it. All right, so let's begin. Hi everyone. Hi Jennifer, Ade, Engineer Lamina, and whoever will be joining us later. Thank you so much for finding time to be part of this webinar. I hope you can hear me, Ade. Everyone has confirmed they can hear me. Let me do that confirmation once again. So please then unmute yourself and let me know you can hear me so that we can continue. Unmute yourself, Ade. Ade, can you hear me? Hello, Ade.
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Yes, hello, good evening. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's begin. Today I want us to discuss quickly. We're already taking 20 minutes out of the 1 hour. I hope this will I say Zoom will allow us to go beyond the 45 minutes, but we'll try our best and to create another link. If this one fails, just be in the group. If this one goes off, we'll be able to use another link to continue, but that's okay. So how to secure full funding for your postgraduate study. And like I said, this webinar is for postgraduate study abroad. I understand there are those who have been in the WhatsApp group, especially if you're coming from the WhatsApp group, that have the Canada Japa WhatsApp group that I created a long time ago. A lot of them came on, and then we're talking about undergraduate, but this is not for undergraduate, and that's one of the reasons I'm making this webinar, to clarify some of these things. So how to secure full funding for your postgraduate study abroad. So we're going to cover basically 3 things, and those 3 things are: first, a basic understanding of international study, as in what do you call it now, study abroad, a basic understanding of what is involved in study abroad, or international education system, let me call it that way, understanding international education study. The second part is the second part of this webinar. The second thing we will talk about is we'll talk about the document, the requirement, every information you need, everything you need to have to be able to make a successful application, whether it's study abroad. All right. So everything you need, I will list 7 things, and I'll break down what their essences are that you will need in order to secure funding or secure admission abroad. Then the last thing we'll talk about is how to secure full funding, which is the major part of this webinar, but every other thing builds up to it. And then, like I said, I have a special gift for you. Oh, sorry, this is not the title for this. I have a special gift for you. This is not the title for this, don't worry. Sorry about that. Problem editing. So I have a special gift for you if you pay attention to the end, and it's well, it's what you will need to watch till the end to find out if you are here till the end. So I encourage you to pay serious attention. I want you to get everything that you need to get. Like I told you, I have a special gift for you. So the part 1, we're going to talk about what you need to know about international education system. All right, what you need to know about international education systems. So most of us are in Nigeria, are Nigerians and studied in Nigeria, and we are familiar with how education goes in our country. Everything, there's nothing you need to be told. You go to primary school, secondary, but here we're talking about tertiary education now. Okay, so you know that you have polytechnics, you have colleges of education, you have colleges of agric and all that. Then you have universities. So those are basically the higher education. There are technical colleges as well. All right. So, but international education system, the first thing you need to know is that they have a high quality. They are of high quality. Yes, high universities abroad, universities in developed countries. When we talk about study abroad, we're not talking about going to study in maybe countries that are, I mean, Nigeria is better than not those ones. We're talking about countries that are in advanced country like Canada, United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Sweden, Mexico, Ireland, New Zealand, in all those countries that, they are advanced in their education system. We discover that their education systems are advanced, and most times most people, when you quote that you have studied in these universities abroad, you kind of get high recognition, especially when your CV carries any of these universities. Why? Because they know that they have high standards, they have a merit-based system that make sure that the students or the people they produce after the education are high, quality guys and people who can do things. So it doesn't matter what your background is when you attend these universities, because of the systems they have built into their academic curriculum or education systems, you find out that you become a better person, you become more skilled in what you're doing. We have it's not as if in Nigeria we don't have good education system, but a lot of Nigerian factors play in. Corruption, mediocrity, there is a lot of promotion of there are a lot of factors we already know, sure. But the major thing is corruption, the major thing is mediocrity, the major thing is lack of facilities. All of these things affect the quality of education we receive in Nigeria, but these things are to a minimal level. When you want to study abroad, you see that these things are of minimal level. So you find out that they have run a consistent calendar. There is no strike. They run a consistent calendar. They run what do I call it? Their calendar is smooth. There is no strike. They don't go on strike. They don't students there's no ASU strike. Everybody, everybody starts and finish when they are expected to, finish. So that is one of the good things about the study in these countries. That's one of the good things about studying in these countries. These guys are joining. I thought I allowed everybody. Yeah, I'm supposed to accept every request, so I don't know why it's still prompting me to accept your request. Okay, so that's one thing you need to know about it. The second thing is you need to know is that it's expensive. If you have studied in Nigeria and you know your school fees, usually most school fees now are below 100,000 naira. Especially if you're a federal universities, they are below 100,000 naira. And if they are even private universities, there's no private university that has a semesterly or an academic session fees that is above. Anyway, let me not say there is none, but highest is 2 million, right? Highest school fees you pay in Nigeria is probably around 2 million naira per session. But in abroad, you can pay 4 times, 5 times of that 2 million. So most of the universities you see universities that are asking you to pay $10,000 and if you want to do mathematics for $10,000, you see it is around 500, and this 5 million or to 6 million naira, and that is for one session, right? So, and you have to pay this every session you are there. So, and this is the list. If you see anyone that is around 10,000, that is a very cheap university. That is a very cheap university. So most of them go upwards of $35,000, $25,000. Okay, so that's why we say compared to Nigeria, they are very, very expensive. But then they also have options that enables you to get funding. So we're going to talk about funding in the later part of the webinar. So you can get funding to support your study, especially if you are if you're not able to fund yourself. Every of these universities, You know, they have departments that look into funding assistant study aids, or financial aids to students who want to study. So they have funding options in case you are unable to afford your school fees. But the main thing is that the university needs to receive money for the education you are getting. Now, the third thing you need to know about them is that they have 3 admission cycles in a calendar year. So say from January 2022 to January 2000 to December 2022, these universities run 3 admissions. Unlike in Nigeria, we only have 2 admissions. Sorry, 1 admission. Every calendar year is just 1 admission. So, okay, not calendar year, not as per calendar year, but academic year. I'm sorry for that. It's not calendar year. So I'm going to do that to academic year. So in Nigeria, every academic year or academic session, there are just 1 admission. The university can only admit, in Nigeria, universities can only admit once in an academic session. But over here, and in the United Kingdom, in US, in Canada, they admit 3 times in a year. They can admit 3 times in a year. If the university or college or polytechnic is not admitting up to 3 times, it is their choice not to admit, but they can admit up to 3 times in a year. So the first time they admit, usually admission start is September. They call that admission fall, so that you also understand some of these terminologies, because when you are looking to apply for admission, you'll be coming across these terminologies. All right, so you have fall, which admission starts in September. So students resume in September. Application for people who want to get admission in September start as early as, so usually you will need 6 months. The minimum time you will need, it all depends on the country. If you're going to Canada, you need a minimum of 6 months, before the month of your admission to start preparing to submit your application. So you have to submit your application 6 months before the period you want to. So if you want to get admission in September now, you need to already start searching for schools and start applying, all right? Because this is the best time to get it. For UK, 3 months is enough, sometimes 4 months, 5 months. So the admission, they can give you admission, and because in Canada, if they give you admission, you need 3 months. They must give you 3 months ahead notice. So, and then that 3 months is enable you to process your visa, because Canada visa takes a longer time. UK's visa is not so long. It doesn't take too much time. Maybe within a month, you can secure a visa for UK, but that is not the case with Canada. I don't know whether it's because they don't have an office in Nigeria, but Canada visa takes a longer time to get. So the next session, the next admission cycle is winter. They call it winter, and it happens in January. Like I said, if you want to apply in January now, you have to give yourself, depending on the country you're applying to, you have to give yourself 6 months, at least 6 months, in order to prepare. Then summer is May, June, all right? So May, June, that's when you begin your study. That's when you begin your study. It doesn't mean that is when you start application. So you have to understand the difference. So that's how, these are the things you need to know. So first of all, fall, the students resume in September, all right? But you have to have applied. So if you know when you're applying for, usually when you go to their website, you will see that admission for fall. That means you know that you're resuming in September. If you see that now, it means you're resuming in September. If you see winter, it means you're resuming January 2024, right? If you see summer in that application, it means you're resuming May or June 2024. You will not be able to see any admission right now for winter of 2023, especially for Canada. You will not be able to see for any of them, Canada or UK. And you will not also be able to see for summer of 2023, right now that is ongoing. Maybe some UK, because UK, their own application is usually very fast, right? It's easy to secure admission for UK, but if you're looking at Canada, then the only option you have this year is September. If you want to apply for January, it is next year, January, not this year's January again. So that's how to look at it. If you have any questions, like I've said, you can just note it down. If you're not hearing me, if you have any concern, you're unable to hear me, let me see it in the text, or you raise your hand so I will know that there is a complaint. All right, so the second part of this class is the 7 essentials for your study abroad. So study in Canada, study in UK, study in the US, there are things you need to know. There are things you need to have, there are things you need to know, there are documents you need to prepare, ahead of time. So we're going to talk about each and every one of them. The first one, you need to have an international passport. You need to have an international passport. So if you don't have international passport, in fact, you can't even submit application. And by international passport, I mean a valid international passport. This international passport that has not expired. Now, this is very important. A lot of people take it for granted and they say, okay, when I start the application, I will go and do. No, you need to have a valid international passport before you begin application. So if you don't have international passport, there is no need for you to even to start application. The first thing you need to do is to get your international passport. Go to the immigration office close to you and apply for international passport. I don't know how much it costs now, but you should be able to find out how much that is. So you must just go ahead and apply for your international passport. Who is disturbing my screen now? Carlos, don't stop scattering my screen with red ink. Olaseni, please don't scatter my screen with red ink. So so you need to have international passport. If you don't have it, you cannot begin anything. You can't begin application. If you open that application, there is a place they are going to request for you to put your international passport. What's the meaning? Please confirm that you can see the screen. Type and in the chat and let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen? Okay, thank you, Ade. Thank you, engineer. So let's go. Let's continue. Thank you. All right, so let's continue. So the next thing you need is a good post-secondary degree. Like I said, this is for postgraduate study. So if you want to do a postgraduate study, you would already have a graduate qualification. So you have to have a graduate qualification, OND, HND, NCE, a degree. So you have to have had one. So postgraduate study is not for people who don't have this. So you need to have at least one of these qualifications. Sorry. Oh. What's happening? I've unmuted this guy now. Why is he still coming back?
Yeah, why is he not leaving? What's it?
Wow, you can see this person is discussing a different thing. I will remove him if you make I don't know whether you can hear me. Or Laseni, if you disturb this class again, I'll remove you from the class. If you're not here, obviously you're not here. Okay, so I'm sorry for that. Okay, so let's go. You need a good postgraduate, post-secondary degree. So usually, especially if you are targeting to get funding, most universities that want to admit you, they will look at your results. Whether you are looking for this thing or not, they need to have your result. They usually will look at your results. So you need to have a good grade. You need to have a good grade, a minimum of, I wouldn't say, but it all depends. It all depends. 2-1, 2-2, sometimes third class 2 used to get degree. It depends on the requirement of the school. So every school have different requirements. So you need to check your requirement and be sure that you have met their requirements. So you need to have a good degree. And then, so beyond having the degree, you need to have it, but beyond having it, you need to have a transcript. So this is where a lot of people have challenge. What is transcript? Transcript is a document that details all the results you have obtained from your university or college. So if you have studied for 3 years program, if you have studied for 4 years program, every single course you have taken, the grade you obtained in them, and the cumulative CGPA are recorded in your transcript after you have graduated. So a document that contains all of that is called your transcript. So, and universities or colleges who want to give you admission abroad are interested in having that document. It is a must. If they don't see that document, they will not offer you admission. So this document is very important. You need to find ways. It's usually a challenge because most universities find it difficult to release this document to students. They prefer to send it to the schools themselves. Unfortunately, especially for those of you who are going into research, if you're applying for research-based studies, these universities will require you they want to see your transcript. Your supervisors will want to see your proposed supervisor, the people who are likely going to supervise you, want to see the script, the listing before they even give you admission. So this is actually also very important. So you need your transcript. So you need to go through your university, find out what is the requirement, for getting your transcript, begin that process and make sure you get your transcript. So it's important that you have your transcript because you need it to do the application, right? So the third thing you need, the fourth thing is a curriculum vitae, your CV. So you need to have a CV. Right, so let's continue. So you need your curriculum vitae. The curriculum vitae need to contain your educational history. Of course, you know what curriculum vitae, but then the ones they need is really they have specified model and format for the CVs they require, especially universities to also specify differences in what they need. But generally, they need to see your educational background, how you have studied, your history of education. Your curriculum vitae should contain your educational history, so your job experiences where you have worked, and it should also contain research. And this is very important. You need to have done some research, whether or not you're doing or articles you have written in the past, especially if you have done a postgraduate study, you carried out some form of research. So they want to see that you have done something like, because every form of study requires some form of research. There's some form of project you are going to carry out. So they expect that you have a history, you have an experience in doing such in the past. So you need to include that in your CV. Now, one of the things that they don't want to see, usually they don't want to see a gap in your years. The thing is that they expect that, and these universities expect that their expectation is that if you are really interested in studying, you should progress. Otherwise, you should go to work, go and work. So you don't have to wait for a long time before, resuming, as in deciding to go back to school. Otherwise, there should be an explanation. So they not expect that you are idle, you're not doing anything, you stay at home. Yes, there is no job. Even if there is no job, there should be something you are doing. So it is called education gap. So they usually would expect you to explain the reason. If you have studied, if you've finished your university in 2015, and now in 2022 or 2023, you are applying you're applying to study another thing in their university. Okay. So, and between that period, you have not done anything. There is nothing in your CV. You have written nothing, or there is about 2 or 3 years unexplained. There is nothing you have done there. So they don't like that. So you want to make sure that you include there is something you have done in those. If there is nothing, if there is no educational listing, no educational space there, that's what explains that, okay, within this period that you have not studied, you were working. So that is what they call education gap. You have to explain that you have been working for the period you were not studying. So that's that. If you have not been working, you probably have been volunteering, and they love volunteering a lot. So if you have volunteering experience, please include it in your CV. The CVs you're using for job may not be interested in your volunteering experience, but if you want to study, they are very interested in the volunteering. If you have done volunteering on any social work, all right, that you have offered for free, or even if it is not, if it's a business you went to work with for free jobs you did for just to gain experience, they like to see that in your CV. So those are the things you need to have a CV that is really good in order to apply to universities to study. So the next document you need is a statement of purpose. Now, usually this is called SOP. Some call it educational essay. Universities call it different names. Application essay, education essay, statement of purpose, research proposal. So they call it different things. So, but this is what it is. It is an essay that you write to explain the problems you have identified, why you want to study the course you want to study. All right. So it usually would say the problem you have identified and your proposed the reason why you want to study, to probably provide a solution to that problem, what you intend to do after studying. So those are the things they want to see in your statement of purpose. It usually requires a lot of acts and crafting. In your CV and statement of purpose, you need to be very careful and avoid grammatical errors. Grammatical errors are one of the criteria they use in judging your statement of purpose. All right. Okay, so that's judging your statement of purpose and also your CV, your curriculum vitae. Okay, so that's it. So you need to have a statement of purpose. Usually they call it SOP. So that's what they mean by SOP, statement of purpose. Most times you see people saying this person will write SOP for you, that person wants to write SOP for you, this person say he has SOP template, and you'll be wondering what is SOP. It means statement of purpose or application essay. All right, so the next thing you need to progress in your application is reference. So usually universities, if you're applying for research-based program or master's or PhD, you'll be required to have 2 academic referees and 1 non-academic referee. So the non-academic referee can be your pastor, it can be a priest, it can be your supervisor at work, it can be your boss, it can be anybody, but not a family member. not a spouse, not a family member. So it can be any other person, but they have to be people who know you very well. So 2 has to be referees. Depending on the university you're applying for, you might have 2 or 3, but usually it is, most of them request for 3 referees. So these are people who write letters to agree or to convince the university that you are of good character, you have research experience, that you are a good person. You know what referee is. But unfortunately, people think that it is that simple. It's not like a job. It's not like a job. What do you call it? A job referee. Most job people are just want to secure their job. Not sorry. Most people, businesses who are asking for referees, just they are looking for who they will hold responsible when you misbehave. That is not the case for these people. They don't want people who they will hold responsible. They want people who will vouch that you have a good character. So reference letters are also very careful documents. They are not just written anyhow. So usually universities will have their own format. If they don't have their own format, the statement should not be brief. It's not, I know him, please accord him the highest possible whatever. That's not what they want to hear. So even if it's your professor writing it, you need to guide the person. You need to guide the professor by maybe showing them a template, say, Prof, this is what the university wants. There is no shine about it. That he's a professor doesn't mean he knows everything. Or he's a doctor doesn't mean he knows everything. So you need to go to them if you have them and you let them know that, Prof, if you don't write it this way, they will not accept it. So tell them this is what they want. These are the criteria they want. In fact, this is a template if you want to look at before writing, because there are specific things they want to get: the character, the behavior, your level of understanding, comprehension in school, your level of commitment to work, evidence of what you have done in the past with them. So you need to talk to supervisors who have probably taught you in class or have supervised your research. Those are the persons that can give you. So these are the things they want to see, not just any lecturer that say, I know him from my department. No, it has to be a lecturer or a supervisor, somebody who has taught you in class, who has graded you in the past, or someone who has supervised your work in the past. So this document is very important. Now, these 3 documents, reference, statement of purpose, curriculum vitae, and transcript, they are grading, they have weighted marks in the application, in the way when they are grading your application. All right, your transcript, your curriculum vitae, your statement of purpose, your references, they have points that's awarded to them. How they give admission is they give points to each of these documents. And based on how you perform on each of them, they award you points, right? So that is why somebody who has 2-1 can miss admission in an international university, but someone who has 2-2 will get that admission. That's because they are not just basing their criteria for admitting you on one thing, that is result. Say you get 2-1, so your brain goes sharp, make we admit you. No, that's not how they do, right? They base it on points for this. So that's why I'm emphasizing on these 4 items, and 7 of them are very important. But statement of purpose, reference, curriculum vitae, and transcript, don't joke with them. Don't submit anyhow curriculum vitae, especially these ones that you're going to be doing yourself. Statement of purpose and reference letter. Another thing about reference is that you want to make sure that you're not submitting your reference yourself, right? Don't play any prank. Oh, I was supposed to have screenshot this and shown you. Okay, so yesterday, day before yesterday, I was browsing through a WhatsApp group that I belong to, and I saw where a picture, maybe I will share that picture with you in the WhatsApp group much later. I saw a screenshot of a university. They queried somebody who was applying in I don't know whether it's a Nigerian, who was applying to their university, and they said that the server the IP address that they submitted his reference letter from is the same IP address his application was submitted from. I hope you understand what IP address is. It's a computer. So they discovered that the same computer he used to submit application is the same computer they used to submit his reference letter. So he should explain. And that is a ground for denying him admission. And even if he was already studying, he's already gained that admission, they will withdraw it and pursue out of that school. So they don't joke with all these things. You have to be very careful. Make sure it is the professor himself who is submitting. Some of them will give it to you and say, oh yeah, go and give to them. No. Let them go and submit it themselves. They should go and submit that reference letter themselves, especially if they have said they should do that themselves. All right. So usually they will send them an email. You are only to provide their phone number and email. So they will send them an email. All right. They will send them an email and then ask them to submit that reference letter. So some of them you can submit yourself, especially if those ones are requesting for letter. So the professor can write a letter and give to you so you can upload that letter. That is a different thing. But some reference letter, come is a form that you have to fill. So if it comes in a form that has to be filled, usually they will send that form to the professor and send you a copy. Some of them have a place where you can send a reminder and write a note to this professor reminding them that they should do your reference letter before the deadline, goes. So all these things have deadline, of course. So the last of the 7 is finance. So, and this is what a lot of people ignore when you're talking about studying abroad. And because most times you're talking about scholarship or funding, people think that they don't need money. No, even if you get full funding, you still need money. You will still need money because, like, for instance, from A to Z, from 1 to 6, everything I've listed, you probably will need money to be able to get them. You need money to get international passport. You need money to, if you don't know how to write a SOP, somebody might need to write it for you. You need money to get your transcript. Maybe you can write your CV and all those things yourself. But if you don't know how to write it to, somebody might also need to help you to draft all this. So actually you need money. Then some universities charge you money for application. So for you to submit the application, you have to pay. So you need money to do that. For Canada, you need to pay at least $100. It is between $75 to $150. Some of them $200. So application fee. So you have to pay to apply. Most US schools will waive the application fee for you. Some universities in US may waive application fee for you if you apply, to tell them you cannot pay the application fee. All right. But most UK schools, they don't require you to pay application fees, but their school fees are so high. But Canada, there's no school you apply in Canada, they will not request for you to pay application fee. So those are costs you have to incur. If you have a full funded scholarship and you want to apply for visa, you need money to apply for visa. Visa is money. All right. So they don't give visa for free. Say you're applying for visa, it's not free. You have to pay for the visa. You need to transport yourself from here to wherever it is you want to study. They are not going to transport it for you. Some of the funding you get may not accommodate your living expenses. So you also have to take care of your living expenses. And now, if you want to now go with your family members, you also need money to be able to carry them along. So finance is also an important consideration, when you want to study abroad. So these are the 7 things you need to consider. There may be more, but these are the ones I have identified that has the most constraint on those who want to apply for study abroad. So any of these 7 factors can actually stop your dream of moving abroad. Yes. If you don't have a transcript, you may not be able to go through. If you don't have a passport, if you don't have a CV, if your CV is not good, if you have and it's not good, if you don't have a good statement of purpose, if you don't have referees, these things will count on you. Another thing about statement of purpose is that you also require it for your visa application. all right? You also need, and sometimes too, they also ask for your CV. That study gap is also something that is of importance to the people who are giving you visa. They also want to see that there is no study gap during the visa application process. So you need to understand and also work towards all of this, especially in making sure that you fill them up in your CV. So that's it about the part 2 of this. If you have any questions, like I said, note them down and I'll answer them at the end. So part 3, we talk about how to secure full funding. So this is the other part of this webinar. We're discussing how to secure full funding for your study abroad, right? Now, I'm talking about postgraduate study. I don't know anything about. There are undergraduate studies abroad, and there are fundings for them. But I won't talk about what I don't understand. I did not try to study in abroad when I was undergraduate, so I did not find anything about. And I don't have children who are. Maybe sometime I'll be able to research and find out more about study abroad for undergraduate. But I really am not informed about that, so I can't talk about what I'm not informed about. But if it's postgraduate studies, yes, I think I have that information. I have this thing to give you that information. So that is what I want to do now. It's how to secure full funding for your study abroad. Okay, so there are several types of funding available for international education, whether they are grants. So grant is money that is given to you to whether it is for the purpose of study. Usually this one comes in if you're running a business and maybe an organization comes and offers you grant, and maybe that grant, some part of that grant may cover for you to go and learn a particular skill or something, upgrade your knowledge on a particular thing, maybe in an international university, just to make sure that you are good in doing that business, right? So some fundings come like that way, right? Especially if you're doing social enterprises. So you might get grant, and that grant may include for you to go and study for a 1 year, 6 months, 2 years course and come back. So that's how grant is used for funding education. But we're not going to discuss much of that because it really is not relevant. It's very minute people are involved, very minute. It affects minute people. So you have scholarships. So scholarships is when everything, some part or all of the funding costs of your study is taken care of. All right. Whether it is part or full, it is scholarship. So where the fundings you require for study, whether it is living expenses or tuition or books or a laboratory cost, whatever it is taken care of by an external body. And then you go ahead and study for free or for half the fee. Sometimes the universities also offer scholarship. They do it through waiver. That means they waive percentage of your school, your tuition, and ask you to pay only a percentage of it. So that's also scholarship. Then you have study loans. So study loan is where an external body pays for your study, pays the university for your study while you pay back in with interest. So maybe when you start working, you pay back to those organizations with interest. Now, whereas a lot of people are scared of study loans, it's actually an interesting thing when it comes to international study. In Nigeria, yes, people are scared of loan because the regulations are not so good in Nigeria. Interest rates are so high. And then also the people who are giving you loan kind of want to take over your life. But that is not how it is international. When it comes to international education, it is encouraged. If you cannot afford to fund your education, you can go ahead and get a loan to fund it. You will be able to pay back. Yes, I can guarantee you that if you fund your education with a loan internationally in Canada, in UK, in US, you will be able to pay back. Those people who are giving you, in fact, some of them are giving you without even guarantor. They don't even need a guarantor. Why are they doing so? Because they know you will be able to pay back. Number one reason is because number one is because they select the schools they give to you. most of the people who want to give you loan, they give you loan for specific courses too, one, and they give you loan for specific universities. So they don't give loan for all the courses you do. Why are they doing that? They have selected those courses because of needs. They know that if you finish from this university, no matter how dumb you are, you will be able to get a job. And if you get a job, based on how they have spread the payment, most of them spread it across 10 years, 11 years, 7 years, all right? So if you do that, you will be able to repay back based on what you're earning gradually. Some of them, your requirements may be $300 in a month, some $100, some of them, based on how they spread it and how much loan funding you got. So over 10 years, you will easily pay back the loans without even feeling that you are paying anything, except you are a dullard. But I believe none of you here is. So that's it about study loans. Then there is bursary too. There is bursary, but this one's also is usually from government. Government is the one that gives bursary, maybe based on location or whatever. Of course, it also happens in Nigeria. Abroad too, it also happens. So sometimes Nigeria can say they want to support students from Nigeria to go and study in an international university, in a university abroad. So that is bursary. So they give them the money on behalf of government to go and support your education. We're not going to discuss bursary, we're not going to discuss grant, but we'll discuss scholarship and study loans extensively. So the types of funds available for international students, and we are not going to discuss grant and loan like I already told you. But for scholarship, there are two types of scholarship. There is partial, there is full scholarships. Now, partial scholarship is when you get a percentage of your tuition fee. Maybe your tuition fee is 200, let's say $10,000, like I said. And then the university says, or an organization says, okay, we are willing to pay for 50% of your tuition fee. So that is, you will now only be able to, you will only be paying $5,000. So that is scholarship, and that is called partial scholarships. And like I said, universities also do give scholarships, right? My wife got a scholarship from the university. She's studying here in the UK, University of Sunderland, and they gave her, and that is not a full funding. Sorry, it's not a full scholarship. It's just half. So some part of the payment was waived. So she will only have to pay a part of it. So that's partial scholarship. But there is full scholarship. Well, partial scholarships are mostly available. Most universities will offer you partial scholarships. So even sometimes, depending on whether you applied or not, sometimes if you apply, you may be able to get higher percentage. But some, even if you don't apply, they will give you some percentage. When your admission letter comes, you will see that it carries some percentage of waiver from what you originally saw as your school fees when you were applying. So they will tell you 50, 13%, 10%. Usually if you don't apply, that's what you will get. You will get like 10%. Highest you will get when you don't apply is 20%. And that's already given. But when you apply and say you want a waiver or you want tuition reduction, you want waiver from your school fees, they might give you as much as 40, 45%, right? Okay, so I'll give you more detail on how you'll be able to know how to get this scholarship, as in scholarship. But then full scholarships. Now, this is the one that we are interested in, right? Full scholarship is the one we want to discuss a little more in details today. That's full scholarship is when everything about your tuition is taken care of. Everything about your tuition, everything is taken care of. You don't have to pay anything. All you need to do is to move yourself to that school and start studying. That's full scholarship. Now, this scholarship is available most especially for research, but also for research masters, okay, but also for non-research masters. Now, I'll give you an example. If you want to study if you want to study a research-based master's is a master's. Okay, let me explain now what's research-based and non-research-based. So research-based is a master's. The universities will indicate that this master's is research-based, this one is non-research-based. All right. So a research-based is where you are going to carry out laboratory or field experiments. So you are going to be carrying out investigations, laboratory or field investigations. Some form of investigations are going to be carried out. So that one is called research-based masters. Some of them also, whether it is arts. Okay, let me not use laboratory now because you believe if I use laboratory, everybody believes it's sciences. But some kind of investigation is going to be carried out. That is research-based. It can be art, it can be science. All right. But most research-based masters are for science-related courses. All right. So some of them come with full funded scholarships. Now, these scholarships, some of them may even extend into paying for your living expenses. All right. So non-research-based masters. Okay, so these people have come again. I have to finish this thing in 10 minutes. All right. So non-research-based masters, maybe you are doing masters in public, yes, maybe some form of public health. Some of them are non-research, but there's also public health that is researched. Maybe you're doing masters in MBA. MBA is non-research. MBA, Masters in Business Administration, is non-research. Masters in accounting, all those other arts-related and business-related courses, they are not research-based masters. So usually when you're applying, you will be able to know. But then you can still get full funding for those courses. Now, organizations like Commonwealth, Shevlin, what do you call it now? Is it Edmond or something? Erasmus, sorry. There's Erasmus, there's MasterCard, there's Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations. So these organizations, there are several of them. These organizations will offer you full scholarships. If you are able to, again, we'll go back to your SOP. If you're able to write an SOP that convinces them that they should give you that. And now again, I talked about your social work. This is also where it comes in. Now, majority of some of the reasons they give scholarship is based on what you have done, especially Shevlin, Commonwealth. No, Commonwealth is, in fact, let me not talk about Commonwealth. I'll talk about it in a separate note. Shevlin, Erasmus, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they look more on what you have done socially. The bad side of especially Shevlin scholarship, let me tell you, because it's a popular scholarship, but the bad side of Shevlin scholarship is that if you're given a Shevlin scholarship in Nigeria, after studying, you have to return to Nigeria and stay for at least 5 years before you can go back to wherever it is. Usually Shevlin is in UK. It's for UK university before you can go back. The same thing is also applicable to Commonwealth, but the difference between Commonwealth's own and Shevlin's own is that you on your own, you can go ahead and do Shevlin and qualify and with your merit. But Commonwealth is Commonwealth now, is based on government. So sometimes if you apply and all that, you will go for interview and it is Nigerian government people that will interview you, and you see how those things people can mess up your dreams and all that and give those slots to people that they want. So to be able to secure these scholarships, you need to apply to them. You need to apply to them to get those scholarships and then apply to the universities that they want to fund, because most of these scholarships, it's not for every university. So they target different universities, they target specific universities. So you have to find the universities that they are targeting in order to be able to access those fundings, right? So this is it about this. So if you have any questions, we'll talk about it. But there are still other forms of scholarship, especially the ones that will take you, especially if you are into research-based masters or research-based. Of course, all PhDs are research-based. If you're looking for PhD or research-based masters, there is a way to get in touch with your supervisors. They have the biggest funding. The supervisors, they have the biggest funding available for research. You can get multiple fundings for one particular course. You can get more than three scholarships for one course. All right, because some of these universities, and that's why a lot of people are trying to go to Canada. Most universities in Canada have a lot of researches that are underground. They are based on, we want one student in this department who meets so and so criteria to be able to get this. So they will not even tell you anything about the scholarship. But if you're in that department and you have met that criteria, you'll see them here. They'll call you one day and say you need to apply for this scholarship. And usually the competition is less, and you usually will get it. That's why when you come back, you see people said that they got so amount. You see somebody say he got 7 scholarships while he's studying this and that. And that's how they actually do get that. So that's it about this. Is another thing. So study loans, international students in Canada and US are mostly available for international students. Study loans are mostly available for international students in United States and in Canada. There are multiple of them. And in the next lesson, I will be able to share with you some of them. I'll show you how we'll be able to get that in that special gift. I'll give you a list of, I know most of you know about Mpower. We have been talking about it in the WhatsApp group, but there are more other listings that can also give you funding. For UK, unfortunately, most of their loan for UK is for people who are UK people, as in UK citizens, or people who are holding passports of UK, or those who have lived in the UK for a specified number of times. Years. So those are the people they offer their scholarships. So I'm going to quickly create another listing. This one has 3 minutes to go. How we are spending time, I don't understand it. So I'm going to quickly create another one so that we use it to answer, have questions and answers, right? Have questions and answers. All right, so continuing. Okay, let's take the question and answer before I talk about my special gift, the gift I want to give you. So I will, somebody asked a question. Let me answer it before I open the other one. It said, how much in Naira? Is that your question? So you can actually start, no, don't type your question here now. Let me just answer this one because this one has 2 minutes to go off. Again, it will go off again. I thought they would give me this thing. So how much should I at least save in Naira account that will enable me to be granted study visa to Canada with my husband and 2 children under 11 years? So usually they would indicate these things in their visa application criteria. I can't give you that. Now you're talking about, I believe you're talking about proof of funds. Okay, so that's another thing I did not talk about too. Maybe I should have talked about it. Yes, proof of fund is very important. Very important. I really don't know how much, but if you are the stage where you'll be able to know exactly how much is, it all depends on, one, how much funding you are able to get in terms of scholarship, in terms of loans, how much we're able to get. So that will determine balance of, because if you have your own living expenses taken care of, the living expenses you're now looking for is that of your family member, that's your husband and your children. So it all depends, right? So this information will be available on, I think I will need to research it, but I'll need to, I don't have it offer, so I can't tell you anything. I'll have to find out how this one is done. So so somebody asked a question on loan. She said the Mpower loan, should she apply for the loan before applying for admission, or should she apply for admission before applying for loan? So the answer I was giving is that Mpower allows you to apply before or after admission. So you can apply for the loan before or after admission. But the best thing for you to do is to apply for it after you have gotten admission. As a matter of fact, they would approve your loan faster if they see that you already have an admission. Okay, so the reason is, if you get an admission, if you get a loan offer, it has a limited time for you to accept. I think 3 weeks or 28 days, I think so. You have to accept the offer of loan. And one of the things you need to accept the offer of loan is your admission offer. Is your admission offer. Is your offer of admission. So you need an offer of admission to be able to accept your loan offer. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. I'm trying to mute you. I don't know why the thing keeps talking. As soon as someone joins, they will start shouting. Okay, so the best thing to do is to apply for and get admission first. Get an admission offer first. Then you can then apply for, like I told you, in Canada, if you get admission, you have up to 3 months. You have up to 3 months space between the time. In fact, sometimes it's more than that. It's more than 3 months between the time you get admission and the time you are offered admission and the time you are required to resume or to enter Canada. All right, so you will no, why are these people disturbing me? So you will need to, if you get an admission, I hope you're understanding my distance. So the best thing to do, you cannot do the both, but the best thing to do is to apply for admission first, so that you get admission. When you have the offer letter, you can then apply for funding, apply for loan. So you will get this thing. So as soon as your loan is approved, you just accept it with your offer letter, and then it is with your offer, both your offer letter for admission and the offer letter for loan, you will now use and go to visa to apply for to do your visa application. So that way you are covered in terms of your proof of funds, especially if the loan covers your living expenses. You're covered for your proof of funds. So there's another question. Are there other? Yes, there are other organizations that give loan. There are other organizations that give loan. The only thing is that Mpower Zone is more, how do I say, accessible. They have easy approval. They have less restriction, but there are other ones. And hopefully later I'll be able to show you, I will be able to find a time when we'll have this meeting. I'll be able to show you those other ones that you can give, that can give you loan. There are others that can give you loan, but the only thing is that most of them have they are country specific. They are looking for a specific country. What is the condition for the admission? What is the conditional offer?
Sorry. So in Canada, like if we are applying for a school, I understand that because I tried applying. It was when it got to the payments, like they'll give you, if you qualify and they give you admission, they'll give you a conditional offer. And then when they'll give you full admission is after you've made a deposit, which is the initial
Okay.
tuition of around 2,003 Canadian dollars. So that's when they will now give you the admission letter. But the first admission that will come out is a conditional offer that when you make payment, that's when they'll send you the real admission letter. And the money is not refundable if you don't get visa.
Yes. Okay, yes, that's correct. So what you will need to do, like already explained to you, if you want to apply for loan, one, you want to use Mpower, you want to choose schools that are acceptable to Mpower. Two, if you have gotten a conditional offer of admission, like I said, you don't need a conditional offer to begin the process of application, but you need it to accept the offer of admission. Sorry, the offer of loan from Mpower. So yes, you can use your conditional offer of admission. It is an offer of admission. And what you are requesting for, the condition is that you make a payment and you are applying to an organization that wants to help you pay. So that is acceptable. The people that will not accept your conditional offer of admission is the visa officers. The people who want to approve your visa will not accept conditional offer of admission. And actually, they just started this conditional offer recently, maybe because of people defaulting to make payment. Usually, Canada will give you admission. Some universities in Canada will even give you admission and ask you to pay only when you have arrived in Canada. They ask you to pay only when you have arrived in Canada. But recently I've heard a lot of people now talking about them Canada saying a conditional offer of admission. So it's probably because of default from a lot of people. So yes, your conditional offer is enough for you to get your loan approved from Mpower. Okay, so do we have any more questions? I'm seeing this thing. Okay, so any more questions? You have any more questions? I need to do this quickly so that we'll go back. I already spent more than I budgeted to spend on this meeting. We're getting to 2 hours. Who else has questions? Okay, so most of my things will also cover this loan thing. All right, so let me know if what you have shared so far has been valuable to you, found them valuable at all. Let me know in the comment sections if you have found what I've shared so far valuable in any way. Let me know in the comment section if you have found what I've shared so far from the beginning, especially those who joined us from the beginning. I don't know why Jennifer has not come back. Okay, Jennifer is not here yet. So Jennifer, Dr. Engineer Lamina, you have been here at the. Can I hear from you? What do you think about what we have shared so far? How valuable has it been? Okay, so Omolola says she's found it very valuable. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, engineer, very much. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Okay, so yes, the universities have different. Somebody asked, I learned some universities in Canada don't accept tutu. Very different universities have their different criteria. Have their different criteria for admission. So, but tutu is not a bad result at all. It's not a bad result at all. So you would definitely be able to have and find enough universities that are willing to accept tutu. Now, there is also a way. Sometimes your tutu can be a 2-1. Sometimes your tutu can be a 2-1. If your tutu is a 2, because in the class we're going to have, I'm going to show you how these universities calculate, and that's why how third class people with third class and tutu can get funding, can get these things. When you hear when they say you will not be able to get it if you don't have tutu, if you don't have 2-1, they can get funding that 2-1s can get fundings. 2-1s can get fundings that first class can get, because because of the way they calculate their CGPA, right? Maybe different from it's different from the way we calculate. So through the calculation, you'll be able to see that even with your 2-2, you actually qualify as a 2-1. I will teach us that in the next class I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so any other question? There's one new message. Okay, thank you very much for the information. One is very informative and educative. Thank you so much, Omolara. Omolara, you have been very helpful to me, reminding me about the recording. I keep forgetting. I will have, because some of these guys who did not attend now will come and bombard me. You want to hear the recording. Thank you so much. You two have been helpful to me. All right, so let me quickly do this. Let me talk about the gift aspect. I really did not have time to prepare enough of these slides, right? So you may just especially those who have been here from beginning, you notice that there are some mistakes and all that. So sorry about that. So what gift do I have for you? I understand that if you have, I don't know where you saw this, but then most of you have come from the WhatsApp group, and I've been telling you about this blueprint by Victor Jegede and all that. So last year, is it last year? No, not last year, 2021. November of 2021. Some of you, if you have heard about Dr. Linda Iheme, have you heard about Dr. Linda Iheme? If you have heard about Dr. Linda Iheme, just indicate in the comment section that you have. Please, let's do this quickly. If you have heard about Dr. Linda Iheme's, yes, okay. So Fumilayo said she has. Fumilayo is a male or female? Yes. Fumilayo said he has heard or she has heard. Yes, Ade said he has heard. Okay, so Dr. Linda Iheme of teaches is one of the guys one of the persons who, okay, yeah, thank you. Fumilayo says she has heard, she's female. So she's one of the persons who teaches how to secure international funding from abroad. Now, from personally on my own, as a person, I've actually been looking for ways. Some of the disappointment I've had come from Commonwealth. One of the first applications after I finished my master from ABU, I wanted to do a PhD, and I applied for Commonwealth. Sorry. So we went through all the process, but when we got to the interview session, they started doing mago and all that. So I got frustrated. I did it for 2 years and I gave up. So I started looking for other ways that I can get, but nothing could just work. Nothing worked. Not that nothing worked, I didn't have enough information to be able to do all this. And so when the Canada team came out, I think around 2018, that's when I first heard about express entry. So I diverted my attention to start going towards express entry and all that. But then age was not on my side. Age was not on my side. I'm not old, but you know, they prioritize people who are in their from early 20s, from 21 years to 25 at the most maximum. They have the maximum advantage, especially if they have a master's and are married at that age. They have the best advantage. So I didn't accumulate enough points also, you know, through the express entry. So I couldn't cross through express entry, right? And then until I started hearing about study abroad, and I was like, could I? Because when each time I thought about study or doing masters, my mind only goes to UK. I didn't think about, I didn't think much about Canada, but then I started hearing about studying in Canada, and Dr. Linda Iheme was one of the persons. I talked to Victor, but Victor most of the time, Victor Jegede focuses more on other immigration pathways, right? He really didn't do much, especially his first blueprint was not talking much about study. It was basically about permanent residency, and especially through express entry, and what's the other one? There's another one now in the one that provincial nomination. Yes. So those are the two things that his guide, the first blueprint he produced was talking about. I got that one also, but then also much didn't happen on my part. So, but in 2021, November specifically, my wife forced me to pay 400 and something thousand to Dr. Linda Iheme to join his Scholarship Hacks Masterclass. That's what the course is called, Scholarship Hacks Masterclass. Now, the money is too much for me. I was convinced, I was sold by her webinar, but I just wasn't willing to pay that much for it. But my wife forced my hand, and we paid for it. Right? The class was valuable, but I had two disappointments. Two disappointments I had was, one, that the class did not involve visa, how to apply for visa. The visa own is another course entirely that is costing about 200 and something thousand. That's number one disappointment. Number two disappointment is that the course was disappearing and I did not know. After 60 days of paying for that course, the course disappeared. I paid for the course around November. So, and it was supposed to take it it was supposed to be a 30 days course. So you take one video each day. So I think around 17, I lost my way, as in I stopped because preparation we are heightening for Christmas. So we're trying to travel for Xmas. So I just said, okay, since it is online, and when I return from Christmas, I will continue the course. So I came back for Christmas around 5th of January or so, and then resumed. I did one day, do 2 days. When I wanted to do the 20-something day, I think it's about 22nd day of 21st day, they say I cannot log in again. When I emailed her, I was like, as I emailed them, I said, what happened? I cannot log into they said, my time has expired. I've exhausted 60 days. Remember, I told you I bought it in November, so that I've exhausted 60 days. So I cannot continue the class again. What? Something I paid 400 and something thousand for. So that's it. Those were the two distance I had. But of course, I eventually sorted it out. She wanted me to pay extra money, but I threatened her I was going to, when you pay for that kind of money, you can make noise. So I made noise. I disturbed her with emails. I'm going to, if I have time, I'll share even the emails I gave it to. So I disturbed her. I was going to, so she opened. Now let me be honest again. The class was valuable. I learned a lot from it. That I am currently in the UK now, one of the reasons is because of what I learned from her course, right? At the time, 2022 was very, very bad. I was supposed to get my transcript. Like I told you about transcript. Transcript was a wahala for me. I could not get my transcript because ASU was on strike. I attended 2 universities that will not budge. When they are on strike, they are on strike. Nothing will happen. Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I had applied for my transcript, but I could not get the transcript. So 2022, you see how long ASU strike was. I could not get. So I could not initiate any application. But my wife did get her own at university, and that's why we're here. She's the one that got her own, and we're here on her behalf. She's studying here right now. Okay, so this was the issues I had. So I've actually acquired knowledge on how to. That's why I learned some of all these things, and there are more from where this knowledge is coming from. I can tell you for free that there is more from where this knowledge is coming from. So, why I keep recommending the Victor Jegede's blueprint is because it did not just talk about study. Like I told you, the first one did not talk about study. The 2.0 blueprint did not talk about study, but the 3.0 included study and 8 other pathways to relocate to Canada. And not just that, it also includes visa application for each of those 8 pathways, each of those 9 pathways, how to apply for visa. So in case this study thing did not work for you, you can decide to choose other pathways to talk about. I'm going to talk about, maybe if I have time, talk about the refugee pathway, which is not a one I recommend for you. But if you don't had you like that, you can even relocate as a refugee. But you know, the best way to relocate is for you to relocate as a student and all that, because it is easy to get funding from that way. So that's why I keep recommending that one for you. But a lot of you keep telling me that it is expensive, the money is too much, you will not be able to afford it. 80% of the people in the platform that have come to chat me said they cannot afford it and all that. And that is why I'm making these new recommendations for you. But then I'm going to hold another class hopefully next week, and that's what I call my special this thing. That's when I propose for 2 hours. I hope it's not going to last for more than 2 hours. So there I'm going to show you how to choose your program of best fit. Program of best fit is when you are looking for admission. All right, there are 3 things you need to consider. You need to consider admissibility. Will you be able to get admission with that course or program you're applying for? Is it competitive? If it's too competitive, it may be difficult for you to get admission. So you want to choose a course that is less competitive. Two, you want to also choose a course that will enable you to get a visa. There are courses you will choose and they will tell you cannot get visa. It's not any particular course. Okay, so the this choosing of program of best fit, like I explained, is about a program that will enable you, you know, to not only get admission easy, but also to get visa, because some programs you may get admission and then you will be denied this visa because of discrepancies or what they believe is a desperation to relocate, because when they see that there is no correlation between your career, your experience, and your previous study and the course you want to go and study, it may affect your visa application. So we need to show you how to prove this, and I can put the value for this at 5,000 naira. That is the least you might want to say about it. So that's it. You're going to get it for free as a special gift from me, right? So then the second part of it is how to write a good CV and SOP. So both in the class I told you about, Linda, most of the courses you are going to purchase, the Victor Jegede zone, what was covered is templates templates for CVs and templates for SOPs. But in this 2 hours class, in this special class, I call it 2 hours because I believe that ideally going to be last for 2 hours. It can last more than 2 hours. I'm going to show you step by step how to create a good CV, how to come up with ideas, and how to, make a good SOP. So it's just like a lecture on how to write a good CV that is acceptable for academic purposes of this nature, and also a good SOP, right? So since you're paying a lot to just get a template, if I'm teaching you how to do that, I can price that at 15,000. So that's how much I value this. All right, the value for this is 15,000 naira. Thirdly, I'm going to also show you how to raise money to fund your Japa dreams. So a lot of you have complained, like I have somebody in the inbox who says, I really need to go, but I don't know how to raise money. I don't have enough money. But if you have the gut, if you have the determination to do this, and I can show you a few ways that you can raise money. Ordinarily, yes, you can make savings, you can make plans to save money. But if that is not enough, then it means you need to add additional sources of income. And I can show you ideal systems that can help you generate money if you work on them, if you're dedicated enough to use them, right? So addition of everything here, these 3 special gift is valued at 35,000 naira, but that's not all. The special gifts continue, right? So also we're going to discuss international study loan options aside Mpower. So I know many of you are familiar with Mpower because Mr. Jegede has talked about it and he showed it. It's actually, and I have to tell you, it's one of the best companies offering study loans around, especially to international students, right? But then there are other options as well. There are other options, and I'm going to show you at least 5 other options if you want to consider loan, for studying, right? So, and also their criteria, so that you see if you meet them and all that. So we're going to do that. So that's more like an information tip I'm giving to you, and I value this at 5,000 naira. So switch to Tech Expo. Now, if you have tried everything, usually it's good to have options. If you want to Japa, it's good to have options, which is one of the reasons I keep recommending the blueprint by Mr. Vito Jegede, because it gives you options, 9 options to Japa through. So that is why that blueprint is good, including all the bonuses inside, because you're not just focusing on study, focusing on other things. But then if you have been part of the group, the Japa group, I once posted a webinar where Mr. Victor was talking about, brought in somebody who talked about, how to switch your career to tech, because this is an in-demand skill. This is an in-demand career in the international world, right? Most of these developed countries, they are looking for people who are tech savvy, there are several variety of them. There's business analysis, there's data analysis, there is web design, there's app development, there's plenty of them, programming. In fact, some of the ones I'm going to introduce to you, you don't require any programming skills to be able to learn them, but it is a significant course that you have to do. It is not a one day. Most of them require to do 3 months course on this. So if you're able to dedicate a few hours to do these courses, you might then be able to secure jobs, right? Jobs that will enable you that will have visa sponsorship, so that you can travel to any part of the world where you get these jobs, right? So this is really an interesting one. There's business analyst. I think the one he talked about that day was what do you call it now? Scrum analyst or something like that. Scrum master, yes, that's it. It's also a very big and evolving area. So if you are not really interested in studying, because studying will take you a long time, and you want to switch career to tech, well, it's going to cost more. But then, if you stay till the end of that webinar, the Indian guy was offering to do that thing for you, to teach you for around 800,000 naira if you do the conversion. That's what you will pay to enroll in that course. But I have cheaper ideas and cheaper ways that you can do this, and that's why I call it switch to Tech Expo. Switch your career to Tech Expo. I give you Expo on places or organizations that can offer you not the same Scrum Master, but similar, like data analytics, like business analytics, like data engineering and all that. So if you're interested in that, I will also expose a few, organizations that can help you do this. And then some of them are even free. Some of them are not that they are fully free, but of course you get to know that you may not need to pay anything down at the moment. So I value this because it's also an info expo at 5,000 naira. Then we also are going to discuss your Japa winning strategies. Japa winning strategies. So if your dream had the strategies to achieve your Japa dreams, there is no one gown fits all. There's no one system fits all. A strategy that favors Mr. A may not favor Mr. B. So a strategy that favors Mr. Ola may not favor you. So we can go into discuss options that a lot of people have used to relocate abroad. You didn't consider which one will be suitable for you. And this is also a session that you may, like, for instance, pay immigration agents a huge amount of money to help you discuss. Like if you're having a session with Mr. Jegede, right? These are some of the things you're going to be discussing with him to look at options, and he values his class at $115, all right, per hour. So, but then we're going to have a few sessions of this, and I value this at 7,500, and you're getting it in that class. So everything so far, that I've added from the first page to now is around 52,500 in value, right? Okay, so, but that's not all. That's not all. There is still more about this in this class. I'm going to, if you enroll, if you do take the actions that is necessary, we're going to have 2 months ongoing support for you through the period of your securing admission for your journey. So, and I value this as 15,000 per month. That is virtually what I would ordinarily charge, all right, you know, to get into a mentorship group, and will provide support for you so that you identify your school, choose a program, identify schools that offer your program, apply, provide documents, produce your document. It's also going to be an accountability group so that whatever you need to do, you do it, and then meet your target, right? So this class is also valued at 15,000 per month, and that's a cumulative of 30,000 in value. So the total value of what I'm offering in my special gift plus special bonus is this 82,500, and that's a conservative value, conservative valuation, right? So what am I expecting you to do in order to get this gift? It's simple. One, and don't freak out about it. I can put the value of all of this. If I'm not going to charge you 82,000, but can put the value, I can confidently charge you 25,000, you know, as somebody who I already know, somebody who already have a relationship with me. But then if I am to sit down and do this for you, I can confidently charge you, but I'm not going to charge you that. I value this whole thing. But before I tell you how much is that, will I really be able to help you do all of this, right? So like I told you before, I've gone through this whole process. I'm currently in the UK, and also I told you I paid some money to be able to learn some of these things, and this is proof of the payment. And you can see this is 497. That's nearly 500,000 naira. And I paid it to Vantage Migration, and I'm just trying to show you. Now I've applied what I've learned from this, and it has worked for me. That is why I have the right to now share the knowledge with you, right? I have the right to now share the knowledge with you. Okay, so these are the conversations on enrollment so that you understand that it is actually because you can see that the name here is my wife's. So you may wonder, is it really you that made the payment? But this is a conversation I had with her, and that's it. So you can see I've paid for the masterclass, and this is the receipt I've shared with her. And this is her response, her feedback to me, right? So she said, congratulations, please send your whatever. This is me, this is my name and all that. Okay, so, and then conversation continued, and you can see the email that I got after the whole thing. That's the enrollment and the login details and all that. You can cross-check the date, like I told you, is around November of 2021, right? Okay, so let's get into the whole thing. If I have this knowledge and I've applied it for myself, I believe I should be able to use it to also support you in your journey. And I value this whole thing. And I'm not going to value it more than this, but you only need to pay. If you need to pay me, you're going to just pay 17,500, right? Okay, so, but then it's a special gift, and you don't have to pay nothing. To me, you don't have to pay me anything. But that is if you do either of two things. Either of two things. The one thing you need to do is to get the Canada Relocation Group in 3.0. It's currently valued at 45,000, and you can see the link to it here. When you do that, you get a full package. You get my special gifts plus the 2 months ongoing support. You get the support for 2 months, full everything. You don't have to pay anything. You also be part of that webinar I'm going to hold, right? Okay, so that's it. This is the link to pay. You have to pay through this link, and when you do, you need to send me email. So the second thing you need to do, I'm going to show you the next one. The second thing you can do optionally is to pay for this blueprint, which is focused on study to Canada. Simple. Now, Mr. Victor Jegede's zone is not just about study, it is fully discussing study and then 9 other options to relocate to Canada, which is why it is my primary recommendation to you, and it will continue to be. But if you feel that amount is too much for you, you cannot afford it, this is another blueprint by another Nigerian person who is studying and who is currently in Canada. He has studied and he has finished. He's currently comfortable there, and you can find details in this link. Right to Sojo. The course is selling at 25,000 at the moment, and you can find it through this link. I'll share this link also in the WhatsApp group, but you can copy it here right now. Go through that place and check it out. If you do check it out and you make a purchase, you will also get my special gift, but plus 1 month ongoing semester. So I will only be able to support you for 1 month. If you want to pay, stay longer, you will have to pay, right? So that is it. So if you do pay through the link I've given you, now you may already know that I have a partnership with Expo, which is the organization supporting the sale of this digital product and many other digital products. I have a partnership with Expo. I have a relationship with Mr. Victor Jegede, but I don't have a relationship with Ojo. But whichever is the case, if it's on Expo, it is verified. It cannot be on Expo and not be verified. So I can confidently tell you that whichever of these you purchase, you'll be able to get the right guidance that you need, right? Whichever of these two you purchase, you'll be able to get the right guidance. I will get some percentage of what you pay, but it doesn't mean that if you go directly to the person, you'll get it cheaper, you still get it the same price. But of course, for the effort I'm making to market it, I get a percentage of it, and which is why I am enrolling you into my class for free, right? If you do, you have to use this link to pay, and then you will send me the purchase ID after you have paid. You send it to this email or to chat me privately on WhatsApp with your transaction ID, and I confirm. Then I'll reply with the link to access the group where we'll begin the journey, the webinar. The webinar is going to hold anytime from next week, Sunday, right? From next Sunday. So you'll be able to get details in the WhatsApp group, depending on when you are watching this webinar, right? Okay, so if you feel that 2 of these options won't work for you, but you are interested in all I have offered, this is gift for persons who will take action. But if you feel this, you're not able to, and you still want to get value from the gift I'm giving out, you want to be able to really, don't give it to me as a gift, I want to pay for it. So here is it. Okay, this is supposed to be 17,500. Okay, this is supposed to be 17,500. That's all you have to pay, and you will just get access to the webinar, no support. So you pay 17,000 and get access to just the webinar, no support. I believe you have understood this, and I'm going to go over it again so that there is no confusion. Everything I have offered you, I'm going to give to you gift plus including the 2 months support, which is a special bonus that I'm giving if you pay 45,000 to get the blueprint. The blueprint has a lot of things. Some of you have already reviewed it, and if you have not, you can review it through this link. You can see all the whole thing that is involved in the blueprint. And I'm also going to do another, and if you have been in the group, you probably also have seen it. But if you haven't, if you don't know much, just follow the link here and read through everything that is in the blueprint and what you're getting, right? So if you do purchase it using the link I'm displaying here, you're going to get a special gift from me plus the 2 months ongoing support, which I already indicated. But if you think the 45K is too much for you and you're focused simply on study, you want to study, you want to relocate via study, nothing more. So this blueprint will be ideal for you. It is a study and relocate to Canada ultimate blueprint, and it shows you step by step how to relocate without, as a student, without paying any agent and without having to write IELTS, which is also what is in the Victor Jegede's blueprint. But then Victor Jegede's blueprint contains other things, other pathways to relocate to Canada. So this one is just priced at 25,000, and you can just, pay using this link here specifically, and you will get the special gift plus 1 month ongoing support, right? But if you feel this is how you claim it, just make the purchase, send me transaction ID, and that is it. Now, for those who've already purchased, you already have access to this course. I know there are some of you who've already purchased this guide in the group. You have automatic access to the webinar that I'm going to be holding, and I'll be communicating to you when that will be, right? So if you feel you not be able to meet, you don't need any of the two I recommended. You don't need the Victor Jegede blueprint, and you don't need the Ojo, I think Ojo, somebody blueprint. So you can, but you want to get access to the gift I'm offering, you will just get access to it for just 17,500. You join the webinar, but no support. The support is for those who have gotten the blueprint, right? So that's it. You get this, and then, okay, maybe I just talk about it. Okay, you get this, and you get 1 month support. 1 month. Okay, let's just include that. I initially said no support, but then now I thought about it. Okay, let's say 1 month support. I'll make the review and changes, and I'll post it on the WhatsApp group. You get 1 month support plus the webinar. All right. Okay, so that's it. You want to make payment for this, for the 17.5, you use this link. I'll post it on the group too. And you you can make direct transfer to this, and then you reach out to me on WhatsApp, right? So that's it for this, and I believe this is okay for you. I want to thank you for finding time. If you have any questions or you need any clarifications, you can send me a message on WhatsApp or email me on the emails I've displayed earlier. Remember, make this payment, and this room is going to be filled. I just need a few people, maximum of 15, and we'll keep going, right? Okay, so that's it for February batch, and I hope to see you in the next. I see you inside the group, inside the webinar, where I'll be sharing a whole of this information. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for those who have asked questions, and also I hope you take action on this. I'll see you.